All right, so this is going to be a recap of the 5 trade ideas from last week, along with just some general thoughts and analysis for the week going forward. Last weekend was the first time I posted these top 5 trade ideas on YouTube, and I plan to do that every week, probably on Monday or Sunday, and then I will do a follow-up at the end of the week going over them. So this week's a little bit different because of Christmas, so I'm probably not going to post the 5 ideas this week or the week after. I don't think it's a great time to trade. Maybe it will be, the Santa Claus rally after Christmas, but in particular this coming week of Christmas, I expect low volume and not great conditions to trade, so I'm just going to take most of it off, and I think you probably should too. Maybe it gets better after Christmas, but overall, probably not going to be posting much until January. But I do want to keep doing these ideas and get some more consistent content going, so I'm just going to go over the ideas from this week. So we had NVDA, Snow, VIX, ES, and Netflix. Snow I never triggered, NVIDIA I never traded. I did trade VIX, a little bit of ES, and Netflix as well. So I'm going to go over those, and then I have a couple other ideas and thoughts for the next couple of weeks. And I hope you guys have a good holiday, and we can come back ready to go for the new year. So NVIDIA this week was pretty tough to trade in my opinion. It's been kind of tough as of late. It hasn't really been its usual self. A lot of the things that I talked about in last week's video kind of played out, where we had a big move below and then a gap back above instantly, and yet another move back below and gap back above. So it basically has not moved anywhere. You got to be careful at major areas like this to not get chopped out. For now, the fact that it's faked out twice and reclaimed, that looks pretty bullish to me, but would not be surprised if it pretty quickly came back below 130, 150 again, because Friday's move was pretty much just a short squeeze, if you ask me. So I don't think there's a whole lot we can read into that for now, but we'll see moving forward. This is a longer term chart. It was never meant to be a shorter term trade. Just still watching the same areas, seeing if this 130, 150 can hold or not, and as long as it does, I think it's bullish longer term. I would just be careful in the short term about getting chopped up. Snow was one of the ones that I wanted to look at if we had a bullish reaction to FOMC. We obviously did not, but it still did hold the top of the gap, which was kind of the last line of defense for bulls, if you ask me, and came all the way back up to the 166 area, which was my previous kind of line in the sand. So it's not really super valid anymore, I think, because we've had some chop above it and below it. Overall, I think the range is just basically from the low of last week up to the high of whenever this was back in early December. So that's a pretty big range, but that's, for more of a medium-term outlook, that's what I expect. So as long as it can remain above this area, it does not go back into the gap, and the market remains bullish, I think this is still a good long. I just was not looking to long it last week after we had a lot of volatility and wasn't sure if this thing's going to break or not. So still has time to develop, I think, and it'll be a good move once it does happen. Right now, just kind of watching this trend line for a break back up to 176, or for a failure back below last week's low that potentially leads to a much bigger sell-off if it gets into this gap. So Netflix was one of the names that I actually traded this week. The plan looked like it was working out pretty well, at least. I think it remains to be seen, but it looked like a good entry because this was one of the names I wanted to look for shorts on if the market was bearish. We got the big negative reaction to FOMC, and it flushed below 909, and then even came back for the perfect retest right where I wanted it to the next day. So I got some puts, I think, in this general area, and then bought some more on the final retest. And it was looking good. It rejected before close and then gapped down, but then we ended up with that really big short squeeze. I almost stopped out. If it would have broke above the pre-FOMC highs, I probably would have. But the fact that we were kind of having just a really volatile move that I expected to cool off quite a bit eventually, so I did not want to sell puts at a loss during a rip like that, but gonna have to if it cannot break back below 909 very early on next week. I still think it's a great trade. If the market's going to be bearish, I think it's definitely going to head to 859. But if we're bullish and we keep squeezing back up, like we usually have in this market, then maybe this is a good name to long and play for a move up to all-time high at least. So we'll just have to see. I think there's still some shaking out to do, and it might be better to just roll contracts and buy a little more time, or just kind of be patient around these areas and make sure that you don't get chopped up. So VIX was definitely the most successful idea this week. One that I actually traded, was able to make over 400% on. So that was good. You can see it just exploded all the way off the charts, not even on the screen anymore. So that was pretty wild. I don't normally trade UVXY or things decaying assets like that, but this looked like a really good setup, and I wasn't going to hold for more than a day or two anyway. So did take some UVXY calls before FOMC. The reason why I did that was in part because of what I shared on this idea, just the overall bullish chart, because we had the channel break, the inverse head and shoulders. It came back down to a major low that goes all the way back. I'll look at that in a second, but just lots of bullish looking consolidation here in this area. And then I think what tipped it off the most was if we look at Monday, early in the morning, the market was not selling off or anything. NASDAQ was actually, I think, up towards all-time highs. Monday and Tuesday, we just kind of ground up, but VIX was going up with stocks, which is a big red flag. In addition to the really bullish chart, we had a reason to think that there was going to be some volatility because this was going up ahead of the event before stocks went down, and then FOMC comes, we get the giant move. I ended up selling my calls. I think I sold some here, or maybe all of them actually. Yeah, I think I actually took a little bit profit before here and then sold most of the rest right here. And I did that because it was at the November high, and obviously that cost me some money, missed opportunity, whatever, but still very happy with the trade. So zooming out on VIX, looking at the 1 hour, you can see that this has been in a pretty big range, really, since before, it had that giant spike in August. The low is right around here, around 1675, and the top end is around a high from September during that dump, right around 2317, 24 basically. And you can see that's held several times along with last week too. So in hindsight, that would have been a much better target because there was a lot of movement after the first target was hit. But either way, it once again failed. But that was really volatile move, straight up, straight back down, back to this kind of major support area. It did have, it broke below and then basically ended up in a fake out, which I think contributed to the depth of this move as well. So just kind of watching to see if it can quickly recover or not. I really expected it to hold Wednesday's high on Friday, and it didn't. It just kept crashing down below. So that to me looks like VIX is going to continue heading lower for now, but obviously it does not have to. We'll see if it can reclaim 1920 early in the week next week, and then potentially all the way back up to the November high after that. But overall, good setup, good trade. It doesn't matter what happens from here. The fact that that's something you need to keep in mind when looking at charts. This thing plummet all the way back down to all-time lows and completely die. It does not mean it wasn't a good trade to take along here for a short-term move up. So there's always different contexts and time frames, and every trade that you take probably has a different goal than what somebody else might think. So overall, this asset's not something that I would really be talking about longing all the time whenever it's this week, but in this case, it seemed like a really good setup, and we've had some great VIX setups in the past few weeks, basically since the election. So last idea for the week was ES, 4-hour chart. This was looking pretty bullish for some reasons that I mentioned in the idea. We were kind of holding this previous all-time high, just kind of looked like bullish consolidation, nice little bull flag, and obviously that did the complete opposite, and I was kind of expecting that because of what was happening with VIX, and a lot of other things were just really weird. I mean, look at this volume on Monday, and breadth was just falling off a cliff. So there was a lot of things you could use to piece together, more than just the bull flag, and that's why I landed with short bias as a result. So pretty neutral right now. I mean, it retraced like half the move. No idea what's going to happen. Very volatile squeeze on Friday, so definitely want to let things settle out. And we have a short week this week with Christmas, so I wouldn't do anything crazy right now. But like I was talking about with VIX, it does not matter if this thing just keeps rallying or dies or whatever. The point is you took a short based on the the break of 6100 and it hit your target, so you exited. That's all. It doesn't matter what your feelings are, what you think the economy's doing, or what your favorite stock is. That's, this is what you should be worried about if you're looking to trade short-term options, in my opinion, and you should ignore everything else basically. So yeah, that one worked out well. We'll see where it's going to go. If it's able to reclaim 6100, then I expect all-time high. If not, it may come back up here for a retest and fail. That could be a good short all the way back down to 5800 would be the target for that. That would be like a 300-point move. So there's still some opportunity with this chart. If you missed the big move down, so don't have FOMO and try to get into something that that isn't that great of a setup. Just gonna have to wait right now in the middle of the range, so not super interested in doing anything on this specifically. All right, so I've got a bonus idea here. I plan to take off most of the rest of the year. I might come back after Christmas and try to trade, because that's when the Santa Claus rally starts normally. That might be worth trading, but overall, I think waiting until January is probably best to do anything crazy and just kind of enjoy your holidays and the family. So I'm probably not going to post any ideas this week. I don't think it's a great week to trade. Maybe next week, but overall, right now I'm looking towards the end of the year. But I have this idea here is very interesting to me. I should preface this by saying, obviously, I mean, everybody knows about GameStop at this point. It's a meme stock. It's crazy volatile. You can lose all your money. So if you plan to trade it, just have that in mind. I'm fully prepared to lose every penny that I put into this stock, because it's just what happens. So with that being said, I think this is one of the most beautiful charts I've ever seen in my life. Massive descending wedge. It broke above, got the massive spike above, or sorry, not above, but back up to a previous high from November of 21. I don't know why that says all-time high, by the way, but that is kind of a big target for me for the medium term, short to medium term. And then all-time high is going to be next, because there's really just not a lot of room up here. Maybe it comes up to this high from June, and in March of 21, that could be a good target as well, but I'm going for the all-time high and then even a break. So yeah, just really, really good looking chart. It's just been coiling and consolidating for a very long time now. And if we look at the shorter term here at a 15-minute, maybe 1 hour would be better. Really nice looking bull flag here, nice breakout. It broke out, had a bit of a fake out, but eventually retested it and then just launched. And now it's coming back into some of these previous highs. And like I said, I have a lot higher upside targets, like 47, but for the the very short term, this supply zone here at 36 is what I'm watching. So again, risky. I just think it's, if you've got money that you don't need for a while, or don't mind losing, I think this is one of the better bets, just in case. Obviously not guaranteed, but this looks very, very good. So I'll just say that.